Hey, my name is Joaquin. A lot of people know me as Hakeem Black. I'm just here to let you guys know that nobody's forcing me to do this. You know, I'm just doing it on my own will, and pretty much explain to you what my involvement in the whole conspiracy, what I witnessed in the conspiracy. All right, first, it all started when Tia Thomas, who was a girl that I was talking to when she left the land. When she left the land, we started dating, we started to talk. I asked her why she left. She never mentioned anything about molestation or anything like that. She just wanted to just leave because she was upset. She never explained to me why she left totally, but she just left. After that, when me and Tia left, well, actually, when I picked up Tia and I took her to one of her friends' house where she lived in, I started going back and forth. You know, she's talking to me, we was talking together, just going out, and we eventually got an apartment together in Decatur. That's in Atlanta. After that, she was like getting in contact with other Banats or other girls, who was a part of the conspiracy. She got in contact with, actually Jacob called her and asked her to come to the house. She went inside the house with Jacob, invited me as well. So I went there, whatever. Jake was surprised to see me, and everybody was greeting her. Karima was there. Who was it? It was Karima and the Lopez's was there. I forgot their other names, whatever, but they was there as well too.
So you talking about Karima? Is that Arlene Hamilton?
Yes.
Okay.
Karima and
is that Ada Lopez?
Ada and her mother and her sons back. Exactly.
Okay.
All of them were there at the house. And they were surprised to see me. So I haven't seen them in a long time too, since they left the land. So they was like happy to see me. Hey, how are you? Greeting me, with just love, because I hadn't seen them in a while. And I asked them why they left, and they said, oh, because they was upset. It was nothing again, dealing with molestation, anything like that. And then I saw Jake. He was inside the house. He shook my hand and said, hey, how you doing? Whatever. He asked me, did I leave the land? I said, no, I was always been off the land or whatever. And, explaining to them, how I stayed up there for a little bit and pretty much, had a good time there while I was there. So the next day, Jacob called Tia and asked Tia to come to the house. We went to the house, and then it was her and some other Banasses there as well. And he was explaining to her what was going on, meaning that when I went there, they was on the internet harassing Doc on his website and talking to the lady in New York, the reporter in New York, about how they were going to set up this whole conspiracy. I was witness to it, whatever, and I was like looking at her like, wow, why are they doing this? What's going on? So they talking and, explaining to me, hey, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to say this, we're going to just organizing what they're going to say to the reporters.
So who was the main one that was like saying that they were going to conspire? Or do anything?
Jake was the one who was telling them what to say, and then they came up with what they're going to say, what sounds right, what sounds believable, what just right. Pretty much. I mean, Karima and Ada was on the internet, harassing Dr. York on the internet, telling her you this and you're that because of anger. And I asked her, I said, why are you doing this? She said, oh, because I'm just upset. And I was like, okay, cool. I didn't feel comfortable, so I left, and I left Tia there.
So what month and year was this?
Tia left, I believe, in 2000. Was it 2000? This had to be. It was in the summer, and I'm not exactly sure what year, but I know it was in the summer. It was right before the Florida trip.
Okay.
It was right before the Florida trip. It was right before, exactly. It was 2 weeks before the Florida trip.
That was 2001.
2001. And what happened was, when I was with Tia, she was telling me about this trip they're supposed to go to. Again, Jacob called her again and said, hey, why don't you come alone? And me and her had a big dispute about why she wanted to go there alone, And so I went there anyway. When I went there, he was sitting on the table, on the chair, when he had a whole bunch of girls sitting around him talking, and he was playing this, I think it was, at the time, it was Charles Manson was just coming off. It was showing the tape of Charles Manson. And I was like, what, what's going on? Talking to her, whatever. And she was like, oh, nothing, just shoving it off, whatever, not telling me anything. So I would just sit in the lobby of the house that they was in, and I would hear them again conspiring. What we gonna say this? Tell them we touched this. Let's get some more Banats to come down. And
again, who was the main one talking?
At the time, Jacob was saying all this, whatever.
Like to who?
To all the Banats. Like basically all the Banats that left, he wanted to. If he didn't get in contact with them, he wanted the girls to get in contact with them.
Okay.
So they can come to the house, so they can talk.
Did you name as many people as you remember that was there?
Let me see. Habiba was there. Karima, Ada and her mother, Tia. What was there? I think Farrah was there at one point. Farrah was there at one time. I seen her, but at the time when they were sitting down, I didn't see her. But I know she was at the house. and some other bananas. I just forgot their name, but I do remember their faces, but I forgot their names. You know, pretty much.
Let me ask you: was you said Karima was there?
Karima was definitely there.
How about Esther Cole?
Esther, well, one time I saw her there when they were sitting all together, or whatever. She was there at the time.
Esther, you had Ada. You said Ada.
Yeah, Ada was definitely there. Habiba was there.
Okay, and anybody else you remember?
By their names, no, not by their names.
Okay.
You know, but by the faces. It was others. It was at least about 12, about 10, 12 people that was there. Okay. 10 bananas. Again, when she left, she was telling me about the Florida trip. You know, and the day before the Florida trip, I asked Ada's mother. I was like, hey, you know, what's going on? She's like, hey, I'm tired of this. Meaning that I'm tired of, you know, Dr. York and this and that. And Ada was saying the same thing. Yeah, you know, he don't have no business, you know, walking around and saying, you know, saying stuff about doctrine. And I was like, why you guys feel this way? And they're like, well, because I think he did us wrong, pretty much. So I figured that they just did it under, you know, out of anger. And I guess Lemuel walked inside the door, and Hakeem, and
it's a different Hakeem.
Yeah, different Hakeem. Yeah, different Hakeem. You know, he's big. I think he's from Philadelphia. He was there. It was right before the Florida trip, and they'd have asked me to come down there with him. And Jake was like, "Hey, you know, I want you in the car with me," meaning Habiba, and Atia was there as well too. I believe. But she went in another car though. But they all went down together. And you didn't go? And I didn't go that night because they all drove at nighttime. I flew down there. Oh, okay. And when I flown down there, again, Jacob was the one who was telling all these, hey, this is what we're going to do, because he hated his father, of course. Everybody know that. You know, he think that his father needed to be in jail, of course. So he was, you know, keep asking the girls, hey, you know, if we say this, you know what I'm saying, we can make so much money, we can make some books and this and the other. So while I'm there, we was in a hotel, and while I was there, they went all to the beach, whatever. They all, you know, like I guess, you know, kissing and stuff with each other, you know, and stuff, and playing around and whatever. Was it like any room hopping and stuff like that going on? At one night, this is like in the evening, when in the afternoonish when I was there, there were, and that's why I saw a glimpse and saw Farrah. You know what I'm saying? After that, I left because I didn't feel comfortable with what was going on. Right. So I left that same night, coming back here. I came back from here, and again, Atia came back, and then she also, meaning Atia Thomas, she went back to Jacob House, but I dropped her off again. At that time, they was talking about how to make money, how to get money from Malachi. This was after the trip? This is after the trip. Okay. You know, and I could tell that the girls there were kind of like, you know, they was very upset. It was feeding off of the energy, like Habiba said, feeding off the energy of what he would bring to them. After that, you know, me and Atia got into a big fight, whatever, and then we split up. And that's pretty much as far as the conspiracy that I know. You know. Okay, so at what point when, okay, so I know that was in 2001, right? So in 2002, from at that point until the arrest of Malachi York, did you were you in touch with Atia or anything? Yes, Atia emailed me and asked me. She asked me after Malachi had been arrested. She asked me what I felt about it, and I was upset with her because, again, you know, she was involved in this, and I told her, you know, why are you doing this, you know, and she had her views why she wanted to get involved with it, whatever. Well, so, what was that? Why was she in it? Because she was angry that she got kicked out, but she never explained to me why, you know. Did she ever tell you she was molested or anything? No, like that? She never. See, well, all the bananas. See, this is the thing. I'm close with all the bananas, and they tell me the most secretest thing with themselves or who they like, whatever, but they've never bring up any molestation ever in any of them. You know, so I'm, you know, so it's kind of like, it's like shock to me that they would say that, because like, well, wow, you know, we talk about everything, but why? How come? So none of them? Why did Jake choose molestation as the big lie and not like something else? Well, I remember one night when I was there, he said that that's the only thing that can get with them, because there's a whole bunch of kids there. Right. You know, so I mean, that's besides writing books and making money. You know what I'm saying? He said that's probably the only way. Of course, with all the stuff on TV, of course, you know, that's probably the only way that you can get to him, and people are going to listen to that. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that was a good, you know, strategy for them, you know what I'm saying, to come up with. And again, they've been harassing him, as far as I know. When I asked Ada, I said, how long you been doing this? Since she left, she's been harassing Malachi York on the internet, her and her mother, because her mother's very bitter. Really? As far as email or like email? Email on the chat room, and email. Remember the old email? Yeah. She's been writing, oh, we're going to say this, and talking to the lady. I forgot her name, but she's a reporter in New York. They've been talking to Wallace? Wallace, Miss Wallace. Yeah, Miss Wallace. Yeah, I believe it was Miss Wallace. Okay. I'm not exactly sure, but I know it was a reporter in New York that they was talking to. You know, so.
Okay, and from the arrest up until this point, has any of them tried to make contact with you? Or?
Oh, okay, again, Tia, she did make contact with me. She asked me how do I feel about what happened. At first, it was kind of like a ha email, because she, again, I can never forget, she says to me, you know, how do you feel about your leader? And she highlighted it. And I emailed back and said, what are you talking about? You know, because I was flying from Atlanta to Texas. And she emailed me that, and then I responded like, well, what do you mean about that? You know, what's going on? And then I asked her, is this what y'all been planning? And at first she said, well, something like that. Well, she emailed me something like that, you know what I'm saying? But then she felt guilty about what happened. And then I asked her, I said, well, are you going to testify against his behalf, or are you going to testify with him? She said she had nothing to do with it, and she felt bad about what happened, and she had nothing, she pretty much don't want to.
Is this before the trial, though?
This is after, well, this is totally before the trial, way before the trial.
Okay.
This is way before the trial. This is like, when she emailed me, this is probably about 2 days after, you know, actually a week after the arrest of Malachi York.
Okay, so, since you were in Brunswick to testify, and the judge blocked your testimony, is this the stuff that you were ready to testify to?
Yes, everything I'm telling you guys today, now I would, again, that's what I was going to testify.
Okay, because you are aware of Farrell was also there to testify,
Right.
And Basil or Damon Pryor,
Right.
he was there to testify. He was also blocked. So how did that make y'all feel being blocked when y'all know the whole, you know, the whole story behind, you know, behind the false allegations and things? How does it make you feel?
It will make me feel bitter, not against what they did, is against them. Because, you know, we grew up with them. I know them. They looked after my life, and I looked after their life. And they were like considered my brother and sister. We shared everything. When I mean everything, everything. And for something like this, you know, if it was a problem between all those people who testify against him, at least one of them would have told someone out of the hundreds of people we been with.
Right.
If that was a thing, if one person out of all those people would say something about it.
Right.
You know. So again, I was close to a lot of them Banats, and they spoke to me about a lot of things, and that never came up.
How about the as they say boys, but we know that they're like 20 now and stuff like that, like Eddie, Shilamu, and you have David, and Issa maintained nothing ever happened to him, but then you have Shilamu, David, and Eddie that testified against Mr. York. Are you close with them?
I'm close with Eddie, not no longer, but I'm close with Eddie. You know, and like I said, again, Eddie, the whole thing with Eddie is that I think it was in the year they was kicked off, that they had the whole incident with the girls, you know, going out, whatever, and they was trying to, you know, it was like very chaos like that at the time at the family day. The next year, Eddie went up with me and another friend of mine, and what happened was that Eddie was like, you know, we was talking about the whole, you know, about Jacob York and how they feel about Ada and Karima, how they feel about, you know, being bitter towards Dr. York, and Eddie was totally with us like, yeah, you know, I understand. The moment he was, you know, he couldn't come up on the land, he just, you know, like really just went bitter, automatically went bitter.
So he was against their plot.
He was against their plot. He was against their plot at first. And then something I always remember that he always said, you know what, after he got kicked off, because we had to take him back home, you know, in Lithuania. After that, he went and like, you know what, the whole ride there, he was talking bitter against him. And that's when it hit me like, wow, because something happened like this, you're gonna go and change sides. So me and him got into the argument about, you know, why are you gonna go against him because this happened? Just probably misunderstand. He's like, no, I'm gonna bring him down. I'm gonna join with Jacob or whatever. I'm gonna talk to Jacob and stuff. And I'm like, why are you gonna talk to Jacob after just, you know, 20 minutes ago you was against him,
right? Because
something happened. And then he was like, yo, forget, you know, he started cursing and he was very upset. So he went, you know, straight to Jacob that same. I guess he went to like the next day. Then he called me up and asked me, you know what happened, you know, why he got kicked out. And I told him, you know, honestly, I don't really know because I didn't know at the time. And then I found out later why, you know. So
how about David? What was his like reason? Because of his mother, Barbara Noel, his sister Amanda, and then his other sister Ada. How did he get into it? They just brought him into it?
Yeah, he pretty much just came into it. I don't really know. I'm not really close with David, you know, but he pretty much was around it because, I mean, if you're around it, you know, all the time, you're going to eventually, because you're out of place, everybody going to look at you like, well, what are you here for? Right. So eventually, you know, he's just going to you know, agree with everybody. Okay. To be in, you know, an agreement, you know.
Okay, I know also Eddie testified to, he claims or accused Mr. York of molesting him when he was 13 years old, I believe. or was 9 years old. But he told a medical examiner that he was molested by his brother at 6 years old.
Yes.
Now, has Eddie ever told you about that incident in the past?
Well,
like that?
everybody, well, all the mu'minoons or the boys who was in that age knew about it. So pretty much, like I said, we talked about everything.
Right.
And pretty much everybody knew about it, so it was no secret to us.
Right.
You know.
So which brother of his was the
this
one
was
that?
Noah.
Noah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm trying to think who else was in the trial. That was there. David. Oh, and then Shilamu. Shilamu, you know, are you familiar with Shilamu?
No, Shilamu. Oh, no, yes, yes, Eddie's little brother. Yes, I know.
Yeah. Okay, so what's his involvement?
Pretty much again, you know, because Eddie's doing it, everybody else is doing it. I know Shilamu, but as far as his personal basis, I really don't know. You know.
How about Lemuel? Lemuel didn't testify, but he's the brother of Safar.
Right, I know.
And okay, how was his involvement? Oh, he's bitter.
Pretty much, yeah. Lemuel is bitter. You know, I don't know his reasons. Like I say, when we went to Florida, I really didn't speak to none of them. I was just kind of like, I was just roaming around, pretty much, because I was the stuff that you know, Atia went with them, and why. You know, I was kind of concerned why. So, pretty far Lemuel, he's bitter, but I don't know what his reasons are. You know, what his. Reasons.
How about like down there on the trip? Was anybody against the conspiracy that they tried to?
It was pretty much like everybody wanted to party because they haven't seen each other in a long time. So it was kind of like a reunion. But again, Jacob would bring stuff up like, you know, hey, so what else we say on the testify? Or what else happened? Trying to ask the girls what else is going on. Again, you know, me and Tia, like I'm looking at her like, wow, you know. So again, like I said, I left that same night. You know, this all happened.